Hello. I have to rant about this show because it's actually driving me up the wall, and I need to talk about it. Let me just start by saying the female lead, I don't like her. And listen, I was trying. I was like, okay, you know, maybe it's just the first couple episodes. Maybe the chemistry between the main characters isn't quite established yet. I don't know. I don't like her. Guys, I don't like her. It's a show called Love Your Enemy. It's basically about exes that reunite 18 years later and they work together again and whatever. It's a typical love what's the word? Enemies to lovers, which is also weird because it was like kind of enemies but not really. It was more just like teenagers that didn't get along to f- to kind of they were friends. They were already kind of friends, in my opinion, anyways. Even though they were like, "Oh, we can't stand each other. You're so annoying." It's like they already seem like they're friends to lovers to enemies, and then back to lovers. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. The female lead is really unlikable, and I'm trying to not be that person who picks apart a female actress and is like, "Oh, but the male actor's fine." But I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. If you write a badly written female lead, I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to be like, she's not a good written character. I don't necessarily think it's the actress's fault. I think it's the character and the way she was written. But I also do think that the actress is not giving the same that the male actor is giving. Now, part of the problem with that is that their whole relationship is supposed to be this that, like, I think the whole thing is supposed to be like when they got reunited after 18 years, they act really childishly. Like they're someone because they've known each other from childhood as well. So they've just known each other their whole lives, right? So it's kind of like, oh, you get reunited with someone that and you fall back into that like bickering kind of childish stuff. The problem is he's getting the actor, the character, whatever, is getting little glimpses of him still caring about her and still having feelings for her, right? But her is not. And so every interaction they have, it just comes across as her being a brat and being like not like a nice person. And you're just like annoyed with her character because you're like, why are you? And she's always like, he's so annoying. When I tell you, I don't think he's done anything that annoying. And the problem is like if the reason she was acting that way was because they gave us more examples, and maybe they will later in the next two episodes. I'm on episode 5. There's 12 episodes. I'm almost halfway through the show. Maybe in the end of this episode or going into 6 or 6, they'll give us more reasons why she's so the way she is right now, like as a current adult. But also, I don't know how much it's gonna help me like her character because at the end of the day, her character is just not that great. Like she's not a well-written character. The younger versions, the actors that played the 18-year-old versions of them were so much better and had so much more chemistry and were just so much more interesting. And even though 18 is a little old to be acting childish, the childishness made sense on that end. This end, with the way that she acts with him now as a 36-year-old, it's weird. I'm like, why do you act like that? This isn't cute. This isn't funny. I'm not getting a cute little, oh, she's so silly. I'm like, no, she's annoying. And like, her level of disgust and like the amount of times she looks at him like, I'm like, are we looking at the same person? Because the male lead is quite literally the most beautiful man in the world. And I know that the reason she's looking at him like that doesn't have anything to do with his looks. It's because she just doesn't like him. But it's really getting hard to take her reactions to what he's doing seriously. Like, I can't take what she's saying and how she's in my opinion, overreacting about the biggest things. And then there's no evidence that she has any lingering feelings for him. Because even when she was thinking back to moments that you could be considered romantic, she was like, "Ugh, he's so annoying." And I'm like, that's not cute, babe. It's not cute. And I do think part of the problem is that I did see a comment, and I feel like this is a good way of explaining it. It seems like they're kind of putting him on the male lead on a pedestal, and he kind of is getting a little more grace in his character and he's getting a little bit more like they're showing him still caring about her. They're showing that maybe he still has feelings. They're showing him being jealous. And it's like, okay, this makes sense. Where on her end, she's over here just going, bro, I don't want to be that person that picks apart someone's facial expressions, but she makes this face that is so I'm sorry, it's so unattractive, and I don't know why they were like, hey, make this face all the time. It's weird. The male lead does it too, where he makes like a weird face. It's supposed to be like funny, I guess, but it's honestly just like really unattractive, and it's not funny because, in my opinion, the show is not funny at all. I don't think I've laughed once. And here's the thing. This is what I have an issue with sometimes with K-dramas is they try too hard to be funny and it doesn't always work. Sometimes I've watched dramas that were like supposed to be funny and they were, and I giggled and I laughed and I was like, hee hee, that's funny. But sometimes they're so painfully trying to make it a rom-com that it's like, girl, it's not funny. This isn't funny. This is forced. You're trying to make us laugh, and therefore I'm not going to laugh. And so anytime she makes like that face or does this weird, she always like curls her lip really weird. It's like not cute. I'm sorry, but again, no offense to the actress. I don't have any problem with her. I've never seen her in anything. I knew who the actress was, but I've never watched her in a show. I've never watched her acting. I watched this one show she was in, but it was like real life. It was like they took like, how do I explain this? Anyways, whatever. Just know that it was like a real life thing. And I liked her fine then because that was her real personality. And I was like, yeah, she's cute. But this show, she's terrible. And I don't want to be sexist, but I can't stand her. I don't like her. I'm struggling so hard to watch her scenes because I'm just like, oh, there she goes, disappointing me again. And also, now this is something that I think needs to be acknowledged. And I kind of already said it, but I don't think the adult versions have chemistry. And the thing is about chemistry, you can't fake it, you can't force it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. And it's unfortunate because the male lead has been in dramas with other female leads and had the most like electric chemistry. So I know that it's not his fault. So that's why I'm like, it doesn't, just because one person doesn't have chemistry with another doesn't necessarily mean it's because of the other like it doesn't mean it's her fault that they don't have chemistry. They might just not have chemistry. Or maybe the show is writing their scenes in such a way that you just can't quite. Okay, I'm going to stop myself, cut myself off. Here's the problem with that argument though, of like, maybe just, the scenes aren't getting like, they're not getting enough like tension between them and it's supposed to be funny, so it's hard to get that chemistry. That's not true. Because if you have chemistry with someone in a show, even if it's like a silly bantering show, you're going to be able to create those moments of romance in those small little moments, even if it's like like an enemies to lovers, you can create that freaking tension and that chemistry. Even if two characters are standing in front of each other and they're like mad and they're like yelling at each other, there can still be chemistry. So, in conclusion, if there's not any chemistry right now, because, anyways, other people were complaining about the second male lead. I don't have a problem with him because I know the female lead doesn't like him and probably won't at any point. But he is just kind of an extra character that's just kind of there, and I'm like, okay. Also, there's one other thing I want to talk about. This doesn't really have anything to do with the chemistry problem. So the female lead, when she broke up with the male lead in 18 years ago, her friend didn't know they were dating. So her best friend didn't know they were dating because it was like a secret or whatever. And the female lead was like super sad. She's like, he won't call me. I miss him so much, but he won't call me because they had an argument. It was the whole thing, whatever. And the female lead's friend was like, who? Well, who? Because she didn't know they were dating. And so the female lead said his name. Turned out the best friend had a crush on him as well. So then the best friend, this is what she does. It's crazy because she's a horrible person. Sees that the male lead, the boyfriend, is trying to get in contact with his, at this point I guess now ex, but whatever, trying to get in contact with her, he's trying to call her. He got a new phone because he moved away. He got a new phone, so he called her. He's trying to get in contact. The friend sees that, answers and texts him and says, don't ever call me again, and then she deletes all their messages. And she just sits back. And then she proceeds to go, like, the amount of time she tried to contact him, she went to, like, his graduation. She was basically a stalker. I'm sorry. At this point, she's a stalker. She's crazy. This friend is crazy. All the while knowing that her best friend was literally, like, sobbing her eyes out because of this guy. And she was, like, super depressed. Okay? So, terrible friend. And then you cut to 18 years later, because the whole point is that the female lead's a PE teacher, the best friend is like also a teacher at the school, and then the male lead is the new like chairman of the school. So he's like their boss or whatever. But the thing that's crazy is the friend still likes him 18 years later. Keep in mind also, never was reciprocated at any point. He never liked her. He didn't have any interest in her. And he tells her that 18 years now. He's like, I don't want, like, I'm not interested. I don't want you. Okay? I mean, he doesn't say that. But, like, you know, he's like firm. And he's like, no. Girly won't give up. Girly won't give up. And she's so embarrassing. And she's also such a bad friend. Like, genuinely a terrible friend. And I just, every time she gets, it's her too. Every time she's in a scene, I'm just like, oh, you're so awful. Like, and she stayed friends with her. But another thing to note is that in like the first episode, there was a conversation where another teacher who's friends with the female lead and who's, you know, at the same school had said to the friend, you're not, something like, she like called her out. She was like, you're not a very good friend. Like, she literally said that to her. So I was like, at least it was like acknowledged that she's not a good person and she's not friends. And also, to be honest, we don't even really see the female lead and her friend together, like talking or like hanging out or anything. We see it, the female lead with the other girl who's like an actual good friend who actually is kind of one of the only characters in the show that I like. I like her and I like the male lead, and that's about it. Because the friend is actually entertaining. I'm like, yeah, she's funny. I like her. Not the annoying one, the other friend. Anyways, it's just a side note thing of like a really annoying character that's like, at least it makes sense why we dislike her though. And that's why I'm upset. Because I was like, words. Because I'm like, I don't have a true reason to not like the female lead. I just don't like her. And I literally have to come to that realization in my mind and say, you know what? It's okay to not like her. You don't have to like her. Also, I don't have to watch this show. Whoa. Maybe I just don't watch this show. Maybe I should just stop watching this show. Maybe I should just skip through this show. Ooh! The way I like kind of didn't think of that until just now. The thing is, the reason I'm so, let me justify it one more time. The reason I'm so mad is because I really like the male lead. I was like, oh, I get to see him in a rom-com. He's so handsome and he's such a good actor. It'll be so good to see him in like a silly drama, but also like, ooh, romantic. But it's not giving, so I don't know. Maybe I'll skip through it. I definitely don't care enough about this show to sit through it. Are you kidding me? Especially, okay, this is the last thing I'll stop. I'll stop after this. I think I was gonna make a rant video about this show last week, actually, and then I never ended up posting it because I was like trying to explain the plot of the show and it was so confusing and it just whatever. But here's the thing, it's funny, is I think I said in that video when I ended up just being to myself, but I was like, this show, the one that I'm watching right now, is so bad, especially in comparison to the other K-dramas that I'm watching. And even a C-drama that I'm watching, even a Chinese drama I'm watching. There's like these 3 shows that have so much better chemistry than anything in this show that they've tried to give me, that watching this feels like such a downgrade. And I think that's another part of the problem, is I'm watching this show while also watching other shows that have such, I mean, when I say top tier chemistry, like top tier tension, and then I have this and I'm like, ugh. So that's also part of the problem. Anyways, I'm probably going to just skip through the rest of the show because I don't care that much, but I am curious to see how they're going to play the romance out. I just want to see. I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to get the vibe, see how it feels. Maybe if it gets better, I'll stick with it, but I don't think it's going to. Anyways, okay, that's all I have to say. Also, do you like my Christmas jammies? I have matching jammies with my sister and my friend. Anyways, okay, bye.